what up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm J, and we are locked in. Now, this is Ready to Love, the recap episode 2. This season, we have a unique cast, but we're back in the H-Town, and it's some beautiful women in there. There's some fly gentlemen in there, and they holding it down, so we're going to see how this all plays out. But before we get into all that, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of this, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, but this season, we got some beautiful women on here. We got some men that are doing different things. They holding it down. They looking for love. These ladies are looking for love. And of course, we found out our boy Chris is returning for the 20th contestant. The first time in Ready to Love history. We're bringing back a contestant that gets a second chance. So let's jump right on into this. This is Ready to Love, episode 2, the recap. Now, you know the show wouldn't be the show without Nephew Tommy holding it down and bringing us these couples and making sure that somebody finds love. Now, we know last year they found love, but it didn't work long. So we're going to see if this year these contestants, 6 people will be chosen at the end. 3 men, 3 women, and hopefully somebody makes it work this time. The first person to show up is our boy, Mr. Diedrich, the chef. Now, y'all know I rock with the chefs. Last year, we had a couple chefs. We got a couple chefs this year, and I rock with the chef. Now, Diedrich, he's a grandpa. He got a grandchild. But, hey, don't matter, ladies. He's still looking for love. But he's the first to show up to the house, and he's waiting for somebody so he can entertain. The first woman to show up is Miss Stacy. She comes in with her nice voice. Hello, I'm Stacy. Is that a good voice? So you know she's feminine. She's the woman. But she shows up. She says she was in a relationship for 17 years. But as soon as she gets here, her and Mr. Chef, yeah, they hit it right off. Like, hey, let's get this thing moving. Third to the house is Mr. David. He said his friends call him Super Dave. We know he officiates weddings on the side. But when he gets there, I like the way this man thinks. Assertive. He goes in, he sees Stacy. He knows this competition started as soon as he stepped out of the truck. Shakes her hand. Ooh, this is what we got here. They've been hiding you. Then he gives my boy Diedrich some hand. Because it's a competition, but men, we still show respect to each other. And hey, it's a friendly competition. But we here looking for love. Vernicia shows up, looking all good, walking in there, knowing she looked good. And in the background, you hear David. Ooh, they've been hiding her too. Ooh. So we know what David is on. David's like, it's a competition. It's going to be women here. I got a game plan to make it happen. Now with her, she said she doesn't really have a type. As long as your teeth don't look bad, your breath don't stink. Hey, man, we might be able to make something happen. Mr. Choi shows up. 51 years old now. He shows up smooth. Talking about some people call him cocky. Arrogance. No, it ain't none of that. We just confident we know what we doing. Now he shows up. Now the other gentlemen, they took a different approach. They handshake. But with my boy Troy, we do hugs around here. Let the ladies get close. Let them smell that cologne on you. Let them know, hey, you working. You out here working. Miss Chrysanthemum. See, I got that right because she said most people don't get it right and you only get 2 tries. So Miss Chrysanthemum, if you don't make it to the end, I'll holler at you. I'm out in California. Now, she doesn't stay in the same place for too long because she's a flight attendant. And Troy, he wants to know everything about her because when you see a beautiful woman, that's what you do. You find out about her, gentlemen. Big AJ comes in, the music producer. Now, he keeps it real. Of course, he wants an attractive woman, but if you meet somebody that you can build with and grow with, they're going to be attractive to you. So as far as looks being the number one thing, that isn't where he is. He's not at that point in life anymore. He's looking for someone to connect with and grow with. So when he gets here, ladies is looking at him like, okay, tall, bald, chocolate man, got the beard. Okay, AJ, I'm rooting for you, brother. Don't mess this up out here. AJ and Vernicia get to talking and she's asking, does he have kids? He's like, nah, I don't have none. Now she does have kids, but he asked her, does she want any more? And she's like, nah, the kitchen is closed. But when she looks at him, you can see her eyeing. I'm like, it was closed. And AJ, he caught on that. Like, oh, it was closed? The right man will change your mind, fellas. The right man will change your mind. And AJ has caught her eye. That kitchen might be open on the late night. Liz came in looking good. Now for her, she's the CEO, so she's always working. She's business minded, but she's also looking for a man, and it's kind of hard for her. She says sometimes she go to Home Depot just to see if a man is up there, and sometimes she just leaves with a box of light bulbs. Gentlemen, show Miss Liz some love. Mr. David is the first gentleman to actually sit down with Liz, and what he does is they find something that they have in common. It turns out they both used to sing in the choir. So, hey, things are starting off good, and when you have a connection like that, it just seems to always work better moving forward, especially if it's something that's spiritual. Now it's okay, because that's going to be the big chunk of your life and what plays the biggest role in your life. Now, they both start talking about how they were in the choir, and they get to singing together, and they actually sound kind of good. Mr. Khalil shows up. Now, one thing I noticed about Mr. Khalil, he's 41, he's a teacher, but he's very, very intelligent. So for him, you could tell the way he's kind of, it seems like socially awkward, but it's just because he's too smart. His brain is processing things. So he's always looking at things from the intellectual aspect. So when he's asking things, he's really trying to deep dive and figure things out. And you could tell some of the women, it's early, but some of the women are looking at that like, hey man, this is just a mixer. We're supposed to be opening up and just being you and relax a little bit. But we'll see how Mr. Khalil, we'll see how he hangs around. Immediately after the conversation with Khalil, Tressa sees Jason and they start talking. Turns out Jason is also a teacher. And Khalil, he's looking there like, oh, another teacher? So in his head, I told you, he processes things differently. He's like, oh, another teacher. But Jason and Teresa, you can see that they're kind of kicking it off a little bit more because he likes a comedian. He's like, oh, my bad, Khalil, but I gotta take her because she can make me laugh. And she also said that Khalil, his swag just isn't there, man. He probably hasn't been on the dating scene with the black environment, with our people. So, good luck, Mr. Khalil. Fellas, Kyra comes in and oh my goodness, I'm talking about built. Now, she ain't with all that, players get chose, even though they're in H-Towns. Nuh-uh. You have to pursue her. And if she's interested, then she's going to show it back. But you have to pursue her. Now, when she gets in, she walking around. She comes over to the conversation with Jason, Mr. Khalil, Tressa. And the first thing that Khalil says is, I like your makeup. This is how I'm telling y'all, fellas. He ain't been around the black culture enough. You don't compliment her on the makeup. You compliment her. The makeup is just extra. You compliment her. So I can already tell Khalil's probably going to be gone either this episode or the next episode. See what I tell you? Jason 36, Kyra 34, I'm 35. So, me and Jason, we thinking just alike. We see her. Oh, let me get my one-on-one time with her early. First impression, get the jokes in. Now he says, oh, I wouldn't have thought you was 34. I thought you'd be like 20-something, 26, 27. I always make it seem lower, but she does look good for her age. I wouldn't have thought she was 34. Now, while everybody was mixing and mingle, no one was really counting how many people were there. But at this moment, we have 9 men and 10 women. And they're like, what? And this is the moment we get to realize who the 20th person is. KG Smooth. My boy Chris, shout out to Chris. Hit him up on Twitter the other day. Now, he's the 20th contestant. He gets his second chance at love. We know the backstory. He ended up getting eliminated last year because Naya, she kicked him off because he said something about finances and splitting them 50-50. But again, never discuss your finances with anyone other than your significant other, not their friends, not their parents, maybe an accountant, someone that you pay to look at your finances. But he didn't even get a chance to discuss the reason behind him saying that. And he gets a second chance to redeem himself. But Nephew Tommy said, hey, you only get 2 chances. There ain't no more coming back after this, Chris. You better make it to the end, my brother. One thing about Chris is he kind of has a up on everybody. He has an advantage. All the women know Chris. They know the show brought him back, so he's going to be a pivotal figure. So he needs to make sure he's vetting all these women to make sure that they're actually there for him and not trying to catch on and latch on to his name to be carried through the show, at least to make it through. So that's going to be the tough part for Chris, is choosing who's actually there for him and who's actually, let me just, talk to Chris, because as long as I'm talking to Chris, I might stay longer. First couple that we seen actually knew each other prior to coming on the show. Now, it turns out Miss Alexis, she has a son. Her son plays basketball. Guess who the coach was? Jason. And she was always attracted to him, but whenever she would go to the child's practice or to the games, you know how moms are, like, hey, I just got off work, I gotta take my kid here. She wasn't all dolled up, so she never got to present herself like this, and now she has the opportunity to tell Jason, I was always attracted to you. Now, the only thing that might be going on in Jason's head is, If I'm not saying, Miss Alexa, I'm not saying your son was bad at basketball, but if he's bad at basketball, one thing Jason's probably thinking is, man, this kid wasn't that good. I would hate to have to train him 24/7. But that's just me being funny and thinking of that. But now she gets to actually tell him, I was always interested in you. For Jason, that's one good one that he got. Hey, I got something already. Ida and Christian, they both start talking to each other, and their introduction is kind of weird. Now, she approaches him and says, the first thing I seen on you was your ankles were moisturized. Now, Christian's sitting there, clean gentleman, dapper, you know what I'm saying? And he's looking like, my ankles are like, you're supposed to put lotion on. You don't want to have ashy ankles. But these two, their conversation and interaction is kind of weird. Now, Ida, she likes to go by Vicky, because it was a robot she used to watch when she was younger. She was obsessed with it. So that's like her alias, Vicky. But I don't know how these two are going to make it on this show. They seem like their interaction with others is a little, you know what I'm saying? Ida walks past Deidre while he's talking to Tressa, and she says, hey, you giving off gay vibes. Do you get that a lot? Like, hey, at this point, you just gotta tell production, hey, get her off of here, man. Like, that's just too disrespectful. That it's day one. You don't even know this, man. Like, come on now. Now, if a gentleman was to say anything like that to a woman, oh, you're giving off lesbian vibes, he's gone, man. We gotta do something about that. That right there. Me personally, I want her gone ASAP. I don't need to hear anything else from her. Amber and Khalil, they have a little sit down. Now, Amber, she's a hard worker. She's an attorney, but she doesn't like having men that are, trying to be debative and argumentative with her. That's not what she's there for. She just wants a man to talk to and be with. Now, she's sitting with Khalil, and we know how Mr. Khalil is. He's a little socially awkward. So he's like, oh, you're locking people up. You're throwing us all in jail. And she's sitting there like, nah, I don't do any of that. So Khalil, he just hasn't been in the dating scene, especially around beautiful black women. So it's just gonna be an adjustment for him. But I hope he gets through it. And Amber, girl, get yourself up and go find you somebody that you actually interested in. Now, ladies, y'all gonna have to watch out for Joel. Joel, hey, he from Louisiana. He got that accent. My boy is built, pause. And he's popular. All the women are looking at him like, dang, he got the shirt unbuttoned, and he just going through him. He talking to lady to lady to lady. Joel, I'm rocking with you, brother, because these women are on you, and you got the upper hand on all the other men. As far as right now, physical appearance is what's leading him, and he got that accent. These ladies are all over Joel. Y'all watch out for my boy. I'm talking about they got a highlight reel of him. They got him with this woman. They got him with this woman. And all of them are just smiling and laughing at him. He talking to Liz. I'm talking about he putting that game on Liz. He talking to Kyra, talking about you an eternity. I ain't seen none. They ain't making them like you. He over here talking to Liz. And he talking about you look too good to be single. And she's like, man, he remind me of my daddy. Maybe he could be my daddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, this boy Joel is working. I'm talking day one, first hour. He just boom, boom, boom. Knocking them down. Now, Joel, he's over here on Miss V. I'm going to call her V because I don't want to mispronounce her name. But they're talking to each other. And, of course, we know he unfortunately lost his wife, but he has two twins. He's been in Houston for about 2 years now. He's talking to Miss V. And I'm telling you, man, this guy, he's smooth. He talking to her. She has a daughter. He's like, oh, I know she look good. She look like her mama. And he's just like saying everything that needs to be said. Now, we don't know anything deeper than, his game and how to talk to women and his physical appearance. But as of right now, I think Joel is our number one contender. The only way anything can go wrong is if he messes up and talks to one woman and she's friends with the other and it starts to go down the hole like that. But other than that, Joel is up right now. I got him at the top pick. Now, Christian comes over here. He talks to Deidre. Daps him up. Hey, what's up, Chris? He talks to Tressa and he tells her my name is Christian. And she calls him out like, oh, you told him your name is Christian. You told me your name is Christian. That's because he's professional. When he talks to a woman, he wants her to know, hey, my name is Christian. I want you to know me. Just like y'all call me Mo. But when I talk to women, it's Julius. It's Julius. Don't call me Mo. It's Julius. Now, the women they're talking about Christian, they're attracted to Christian. But the only thing about Christian is he's timid. He's not being assertive. So he's kind of sit back with his hands in his lap and stuff. And he's kind of waiting for the conversation to go to him. But this is a mixer. And you're supposed to introduce yourself to these women. You're supposed to be open to these women and kind of start the conversation and lead the conversation to the topics you want to go down to get to know them. And now even Stacy's like, I like him, but he's not assertive, and he's not being the strong man that we want to lead. And I do find one thing interesting. Kyra, she actually takes it upon herself to take Christian, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? How's everything going? She's pretty much going to look out for him. And we do need that. We do need our sisters to help out the brothers that don't have that experience and just let them know, hey, this is what women are looking for. This is what they want. So I definitely appreciate Miss Kyra for that, because a lot of people don't do that. Us men, now, if we know him personally, we'll bring him to the side if that's one of our boys, and we'll talk to him. Hey, you know, you got to change this up. You got to be able to say this. But you don't ever see it really from women trying to help a guy out. And especially in this competition, we may tell Christian, hey, you need to do this. You need to talk like this. You need to be more assertive and upfront. But at the end of the day, it's a competition. We ain't got time to be helping no grown man when it comes to getting a woman, especially a woman that could be our potential choice. Like, if you look at Joel, he can even tell, like, okay, this guy isn't, you know, he isn't as aggressive or as assertive, like I was saying earlier. But Kyra says, you know, I'm looking out for him. I get that vibe of that's my homie. I'm going to help him. I'm going to look out for him. And he got the things going on. He's a mailman. He said he models on the side. So he has a life. He has a personality. He just hasn't brought out that shell. And if he brings out that shell, he might be able to go places, because the women are attractive to him. He's a clean dressed man. I can't knock him. Boy, fly. So you just got to get out that shell, Christian. You got to get out there. And one thing you need to know is these women ain't going to hold back. We only here for 10 episodes, brother. What did I tell you? Chris is going to have all of the women because they know his story and how he was let go and didn't get a chance to find love. But Chris, you got to vet these women. Now, I'm going to hit you up on Twitter and tell you, hey, man, keep your eyes open, brother. Keep your eyes open. But the women are going to be after Chris. He's a good looking man. That boy can dress. He be wearing the loud colors. He pulls it off, though. But KG Smooth is back. And as you can see here, he's working. I'm talking about working overtime. He's finding love this season. Now, Mr. Troy, this big money Troy here, he ain't playing no games. He's sipping the wine, the champagne. You know what? We're going to have to do something for your birthday, go on a trip or something. And V, she's looking like, shoot, I'll take that trip. So Troy know what he's doing. He's like, look, I'm not even with all the small talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm an older gentleman. I'm trying to find somebody. I'm trying to find me a woman, and I'm going to show her, I'm going to give her the world. Top Chef Diedrich, he's sitting down talking to Andrea. This is our first time hearing from her. But the whole time he's sitting there listening to her talk. But she's talking about a missing cat. A cat went out, a little dog or something. It's been missing for days. So for her, she's like, man, I'm kind of down and out. But as a man, we're not trying to hear that. I'm trying to know you, get to introduce, see what you like, see what I like. I'm not worried about your cat. Plus, I'm allergic to cats. So I'm really like, oh, okay, well, hope you find it. And I would have got up and left. But Diedrich, he's being a gentleman. He's sitting there, but he's not interested in that conversation about that missing cat. Now, the show wouldn't be right without Nephew Tommy coming and check on the women and see who they feeling. I'm hearing Joel's name a lot. I'm hearing Diedrich's name. I'm hearing AJ and Chris. So we got a top 4 already. But then they start talking about who they're not really feeling. And then, unfortunately, it's kind of the people I've already been naming off. It was Khalil. He's like number 1. Christian is coming in at number 2. It's just certain things about him that isn't fitting what these women want. And you know it's the first impression. You gotta be on your A game, fellas, or you're going home quick. Couple 2. Now, Kyra went on a date with AJ, and she said the second date was her worst date. Now, they went out to eat, and this story doesn't make sense to me. They went out to eat. She put her card down to pay for the tab and went to the bathroom. She said when she came back, her card was still sitting there. She ended up paying for the meal. And she getting mad at AJ about that. But I don't know how that's AJ's fault. If you put your card out there, you're implying that you're paying for it. Like, okay, we're going Dutch, or you're paying for it. And so for AJ, he didn't pay for it. Now, most men, we probably would pay for it, but he didn't pay for it. He didn't do anything wrong. If she's willing to pay the bill, then, hey, who am I to say you can't pay for this? Don't do that. Plus, you don't know where the relationship is going. But for her, she didn't like that, and She says it's her worst date ever. I'm sure she had worse dates than a guy not paying and you paying for the meal. But you know how it is. We don't even get to make it to the end of the episode. They are already talking about, you know what? We getting rid of somebody right now. One of these gentlemen got to go right now. This show can't go on any longer with 10 of these men. We got to get rid of one of them right now. Now, we need to figure that out. And who is our lucky contestant to go home first? Khalil's the first one to go home. Now, I could have noticed this and gave y'all this answer earlier because in my head, that's already who I was thinking was going home. But then you have the women on the side. What? Who? Come on now. Y'all knew y'all wasn't interested in Khalil. Y'all ain't got to do the antics. Y'all ain't got to do all that. This man, he put himself out there as best of his ability, but he got to go home. All right. It was a good run, brother, but you got to go on home. Now, gentlemen, y'all better hold it down. Christian and Andrea. Now, Andrea was talking about the cat earlier. Christian barely talks at all. This conversation here between them two, it's not even a conversation. It's let's look at each other, laugh, and yeah, let's make rounds. Y'all both got to get on it. Someone else is getting kicked off the show tonight, and y'all just sitting here looking at each other. Now, Alex seen the elimination already happen before the night's even over with. So she's like, let me get on it. Who haven't I talked to? And she goes over to Mr. Troy. She's talking to him because, hey, at this point, you got to connect yourself with at least somebody so they can have a vote to keep you there. Now, she's talking to him. He's older. She said he's chocolate. And she sees a necklace and it's talking about, you know, the Lord. And she's like, okay, cool. Maybe we can go on a date or something. And Troy's like, yeah, you know, we can set up a date or something. So for her, she's like, okay, I got me a little connection here. Jason said he's out here looking for red flags at the Mixer. And he's sitting here talking to Ida and he's listening to her. And he said, man, she can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And he's like, man, I can't even get a word out. And when I do, she cuts me off. So I think he doesn't want any parts of her. Now, Kyra says she's holding a grudge against AJ because of what happened at that date. But he actually gets to come clean. And he tells her straight up, like, man, I gave my card to the waiter and they said it was declined. So he didn't have the money on his card, but he only had one card. Now, it's nothing wrong with being broke. You can fix being broke. But being cheap, I mean, that's just going to be you. I don't think anything was wrong with that. He attempted to pay. So it's not like he wasn't a gentleman. He just didn't have the money on his card at the time. I mean, I don't know why you go out without no money on your card. Always check your account before you go out. But he at least attempted. And I don't think you can, I don't think you can fix what happened because she's going to always look at you as, oh, you're broke or you didn't pay it. So it'd be best for you to just go on and try to find somebody else here and just cut this one as a loss. Ron and Andrea, they sit down and they start talking. And this conversation with Andrea seems like it's going a little bit better. They start talking about kids. And he asked her, would you want to be like stay at home or are you still trying to work and stuff? Now, for her, she's a flight attendant. She's like, I still want to work and things. But for him, he's like, nah, I want you to stay at home with the kids. And she's trying to say, I still would want to have like my career and things. But if you're a flight attendant, that means you're going to be gone a lot. I don't know how that's going to work with like taking care of a kid and things. So she's kind of upset that she can't continue her career. And he's like, it would be best for you to like stay at home with the kid because I could provide for us both and you'd actually be at home with the kid. So I don't know how that's going to work between these two. My boy Christian going out bad. Now he's sitting with Kyra. She's like a sister to him at this point. And she's like, hey, you got to do this. You got to do this. Make yourself available. Talk to these women. And then she says, I'm going to go get me something to drink. And he's like, oh, well, I'll go get it like as a gentleman. So he goes and gets the water. When he gets back, she done walked off, bruh. Hey, man, you should have offered to go with her. I don't know, man. I would have played that differently, but you went out there and now you just left yourself, and it's close to the end of the night. I don't think you built any connection, so oh man, it ain't looking good for my boy Christian. Now Nephew Tommy gonna sit down. He gonna figure out who we like, and it sounds like Chrysanthemum is like at the top of the list. Yeah, it's like, dang, everybody like Chrysanthemum. Stacy's on there. Joel, he talking about, man, I got me a list on me because he making his rounds. But then they have we have the hard truth though, who we not really feeling, and Ida, she's at the top of that list, and I don't know, man. She said my boy Christian had moisturized ankles. She's over here talking a mile a minute. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. These gentlemen, they are not feeling all that talking. But Nephew Tommy is throwing curveballs, and unfortunately tonight, gentlemen, another one of you are leaving. The women are not leaving tonight. We're getting rid of 2 gentlemen in one day. Oh man, let's see who's in the bottom. Who's getting up out of here? Number 1, Christian. Number 2, Ron. And the second gentleman eliminated for the evening is Mr. Christian. So we got rid of Khalil and Christian in the same day. I didn't think either one of them were really going to last too long, but I didn't expect both of them to go home on the first night. I thought it was going to be a man and a woman, but we got rid of 2 of them. And ladies, gentlemen have the power starting right now. So there you go, episode 2. Elimination night. We got rid of 2 people. Oh my goodness, the gentleman had the power. Let me know what y'all think below. Do you think these eliminations were the best ones for the group? Oh man, it's gonna be interesting next week since the gentleman had the power. This is the episodes I like, cause now we get to see the women trying to figure out what the men like, because you don't want to go home. Now I know a few of them are safe, but a few of you, hey, you on the chopping block. You better make up for it. But hey, I'm J. Let me know what you think below. If you like the content on my channel, hit the subscribe button. Definitely give me a like. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.